Welcome back to the show. Let's go to line number one. Good morning, Pam. You're on the air.
Good morning, Patty. I'm calling today to talk about the toxins in the drinking water in not just in the town I live in, but in this province, and how they have affected my health. I got sick, very sick, in April of 2020, and my doctor sent me to a neurologist with MS symptoms. In November of 2020, 4 years ago, that doctor diagnosed me with stress and left me to my own devices. So last year in August, I found out I'm still 2 years away from a second opinion in this province. So I looked outside the province, and through family connections, I got an appointment with one of the top neurologists in New Brunswick. And last October, I was there, and he told me he thought this was environmental. My issues were he had seen it, and he called me January of this year, January 29th, and told me that I had a neurological brain disease. I'm not sure if you heard of this or not, but it's coined the mystery brain disease in New Brunswick.
Yeah, I've heard it. I've seen the stories.
Yeah. So, and I mean, they're going to be opening that up again now, but that inquiry. But so he told me it was the water, and he told me that I had an autoimmune disease, a subsequent autoimmune disease. He told me that I was at a higher risk for cancer because of these toxins. I mean, I had high levels of pesticides and herbicides in my system last October. He told me it was from the spray program. And, I mean, this took 4 years of my life away. So I stopped drinking the water January 29th. He didn't tell me I was going to feel better. He didn't know that I would feel better if I stopped drinking the water, because not everybody did. But I was lucky. I was one of the lucky ones, because about 3 weeks later, my health started to improve. And things just got better and better for me since then, since February. March, the color came back in my face and my lips, and the whites of my eyes became white again, because my kidney function was getting lower and lower. And my doctors were calling like urgently saying, you have to drink more water, which I did. And I was like, I can't drink more water. I'm already drinking more than I should. But I did. I drank more water. And it was actually from the filtration system here in town. And, there's no taste, no smell. You just think that there's nothing in it. And there's no bacteria in it, no E. coli, but those chemicals were still in it. And I was drinking it, and it was literally killing me. And so my health now is really good. But I want people to know, and my doctor told me I'm at a higher risk for cancer. He said these toxins cause autism. It causes gluten sensitivity. And I was just in full-on panic mode when I found that out. I want everybody in this province to know that. I want all the pregnant women to stop drinking the town water. And, I wanted something to be done about this. That day, my doctor told me January 29th, he said, as of this morning, he said, Northern Newfoundland has been flagged at National Public Health as having a confirmed case of somebody with high levels of pesticides and herbicides, it was glyphosate and 3-MPPA. And nothing was done by our government, by the provincial government. Nobody even contacted me. But the town of Port Charlotte they tested the water. They searched for a really good, well-reputed company, and the results came back. But it was tested at the wrong time of the year. It was tested in February. It should be after a heavy rainfall in the spring or summer. But and we didn't know at the time. But they did do their due diligence, and there were trace amounts of it when it came back. But my doctor told me, he said, make sure they test for blue-green algae. He said, that's the most important one here. But they were advised, the town was advised that they didn't need to test for that. So, and that blood test that I have, I know people have told me they've asked their doctor and nurse practitioner for it, but it's not available to in Newfoundland. So that's not fair, because people should know. They should have the right to know the same thing that I know. The government is spraying these toxins into our environment, and they're not testing our drinking water for them. They're testing for anything but these things. They're not testing for heavy metals or pesticides and herbicides. And I think, Patty, that the levels that they're saying are safe are not safe. Absolutely not, because I got sick with these levels that are saying are safe. I got extremely sick. I don't know how it survived it.
I think the standards and the levels are all established by Health Canada as opposed to the various provinces, and I don't know if they're appropriate or not. And so if anyone listening is saying, this is a distinct exaggeration, look, there's 1 in 10 people in the province are under a boil order advisory. There's 160-ish communities that are under one. And the report of a couple of years ago was pretty clear. Even when we're talking about certain levels of chlorine, and they can create a carcinogenic compound, I think it's called trihalomethane. So that's not being made up. That was present in Rigolet. It was identified through a test. And so consequently, some of the drinking sources, as much as they have been deemed safe based on testing, there are legitimate concerns out there. I mean, look no further. In fact, 160 communities have had to tell their residents to boil their water. And that one example, whether it be Black Tickle and people were getting quite ill, and or Rigolet were the presence of the trihalomethane, which is a big problem. So these are real concerns. And so I'm just getting out in front of people telling me that, Pam is making things up, or Pam is exaggerating, or Pam is X, Y, or Z. The fact of the matter is this has been clearly identified as a potential problem, even in places where the water has been told of the residents that it's okay.
Absolutely. And, a friend of mine in Cartwright said that there was PCBs found in their water a few years ago. Cancer rates were just skyrocketing. And there's other things, too, like Bowater they buried a lot of their equipment when they pulled it in Hawke's Bay and the American Air Force Base and Goose Bay, St. Anthony, and Stephenville. They have full tankers buried in the ground. So, with runoff, why aren't they testing for these things? Bacteria, yes, test for bacteria, not E. coli. That's great. But that's not what was killing me. My doctor told me I don't have a long time to live without medication. The water was literally killing me. I started a Facebook group called Safe Drinking Water for Newfoundland and Labrador. I only have 228 members. I need a lot of members to do anything, because I made a Facebook post February 6th. It was shared thousands of times, and it did get to, top tier with the drinking water in Newfoundland, but nobody contacted me. And so nothing was done. Everyone was talking about it. People were telling me stories about wildlife, like getting your rabbits and snares and only having one that you could eat because the liver was gone in the rest of them. And I've heard so many bad stories. I've heard about these autoimmune diseases. There's 80. There's, lupus, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, myasthenia gravis, MS. You can find them all in a short radius of on the Northern Peninsula. I'd say you find all 80 of them, and that's not normal. And the rates of autism, that's not normal. There's not been one house around me that hasn't been affected by cancer or autoimmune disease. It's scary, Patty, and nothing's being done about it.
It's scary for sure. If someone like yourself who's experienced sickness as a result, and you've got that type of advice or commentary from your doctor, I completely understand where you're coming from. And whether we need to, adjust our thoughts on what are safe levels, whether we need to expand the testing to include all of the possible concerns that could impact people's overall health, then why wouldn't we do it? Because it's in our collective best interest. Number one, people need to be kept well by government responsible operations like drinking water. And secondly, if people are getting sick, it's not only an issue for the individual and their family, it's an issue for everybody who's paying taxes, because eventually you're going to need medical care. So why we wouldn't do everything possible to keep people as well as possible is beyond me. And I appreciate you making time for the show to tell us about it this morning, Pam, and I hope you're doing okay.
Yes, I am. Thanks, Patty. Thanks for listening to me.
My pleasure. Take good care.
You too.
Bye-bye.